everybody. All right, so let's talk about endometriosis and periods and all that fun stuff. And basically, my story with dealing with this issue and how I have come to manage it. I don't want to say the word heal my endometriosis, but how I have come to manage it holistically and with no like crazy birth controls and surgeries and all of this stuff. So basically, if you are squeamish and you don't like hearing about women's periods and bodily functions and all of that stuff, then you better leave right now. But if you, are a mature human being and you can handle hearing about bodily functions and women's periods and all that jazz, or you're curious about, healing endometriosis or any other feminine issues naturally, then you are in the right place, and let's get into it. So I'm going to share a little bit of a background of my personal health issues, and then I will go into what I have found to work for me to manage my pain and my symptoms and all of this stuff. So maybe you have endometriosis, maybe you aren't even sure that you have endometriosis, but basically, if you have, the number one sign is really bad periods. Your periods are very painful. They may be really long. They may be really heavy flow, excruciating cramps. Basically, you can't do anything, for the duration of your period, or at least the first day or the day leading up to your period. That is not normal. We have been conditioned as a society and as women even told that it is normal to have really bad cramps. It is not. Periods are a little uncomfortable and there may be some discomfort, but it is not normal to have really excruciating cramps. It is not normal to have really, really heavy flows. So if you are having any of those symptoms, that is a good indicator that you may have some endometriosis going on. Now, some people, they may not really have horrible periods, but they have a bunch of other symptoms and then find out that it is related to endometriosis. So basically for me, when my periods started, they were, super irregular, but when I did get them, my cramps were horrible cramps. And like I said, just super irregular periods. 1 month they'd be super light, almost non-existent. I would go, almost 50 days in between periods, and then my next period would be super heavy, and then I'd go 20 days and it'd be light. It was just all over the place. And then as I became, early adulthood, 20s, my periods kind of evened out, and I started to have, the normal. Well, I guess it was still 25 to 35 days in between, which is still kind of a large gap in between your periods. But it was pretty normal for me. So average 30 days in between. And again, still I had, really heavy periods. I would have really bad cramps. But it wasn't until just a year ago, year and a half ago, that I started, well, maybe 2 years ago, started to really have some issues. My periods would go, I think one day it was one time it was 60 days in between my periods. I mean, and my God, I'm taking so many I cannot talk, pregnancy tests and stuff just to make sure what is going on. Of course, they came up negative. Oh, let me backtrack a little bit, because I did get the IUD put in. I had the Paragard. It was the kind that is just the copper IUD. It has no hormones in it, because my body does not like hormones. It does not like birth control pills or the Mirena with the hormones in it. So I had the IUD, and I had it for a few years, and I didn't have any issues. Then, a year and a half, 2 years ago, I started to have really irregular periods again, super heavy flows. And then I started to just have issues, pelvic issues. I started to have, I'd get pains in my ovaries every now and then. I just had a general feeling of heaviness in my pelvis. And I thought, you know what? I wonder if this is my IUD causing discomfort and causing the heaviness and just kind of a bloated feeling in my pelvis. My uterus just felt heavy. It just felt heavy and just, uncomfortable. So I went and I got my IUD removed, thinking that was the cause of my problems. And things did not get better. They just progressively got worse over 6 months, to the point that I was having, I'd get really, really excruciating back pain. It would radiate down my left leg, horrible ovary pain, really bad cramps, even when I wasn't on my period. then when my period would hit, oh my God, like I was literally on the couch. Like I couldn't do anything for days and days and days. I was attached to my heating pad, um, all these things. It was basically, I'll spare you all of the details. I'll just rattle down my symptoms, I guess, basically. So yeah, severe back pain, horrible cramps, really bad bloating, heaviness of the uterus and pelvis. When my period would hit, I would feel like I was like dying. Like I had the worst flu ever, just exhausted, drained. My whole body would hurt. I even got like when I was on my period, here's where it gets good with the bodily functions. Even when I was on my period, I would have horribly painful bowel movements. I would even get some hemorrhoids from all of this. It was horrible, and that was during my period. I even had a doctor tell me that none of that was related. I'm like, but it only occurs when I'm on my period, when everything is all swollen inside of me. Whatever. That's a whole other thing about how doctors just treat individual symptoms and they do not treat the body as a whole, at least here in America with Western medicine. It's ridiculous. But anyway, it got so bad, it got to the point that I was, 3 out of 4 weeks, I was pretty much laying on the couch and couldn't really do anything because I was in such horrible pain. I went to my doctor and several different times, and she just suggested getting on birth control pills, and I told her multiple times, I cannot do birth control pills. I cannot handle birth control pills. Even low-dose ones, my body just freaks out. Like, I can't do it. I went to another doctor, and he was supposed to be a specialist with endometriosis, and he suggested I get an IUD again, and I was not all about that. He suggested an IUD with hormones. Nope, not going to do that. And then also, I guess, let me backtrack too, because I have not had the laparoscopy, so I have not been examined internally to see if I actually do, in fact, have endometriosis, but I pretty much do. That's what several doctors have told me now. But the only way to really officially diagnose it is to look inside and to find it, outside of your uterus and all that stuff. And now I totally lost my train of thought. Oh, I did get an ultrasound done, and I did have some cysts on my ovaries, which were not a concern. They weren't cancerous or anything. But endometriosis can also cause cysts on the ovaries sometimes. But yeah, so basically they were giving me no options. They were giving me, basically just take birth control. That's it. Take birth control, and you can take some pain meds for the pain. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So I started looking into it, and here is where it gets good. Here is what I started to do to heal my endometriosis. And my life now is like 95% improved. It's amazing. So in no particular order, here's what I did. I did acupuncture. Do acupuncture. And here's where it's funny, because I do healing with crystals and essential oils and all of this stuff, but I was a little weary of acupuncture. I'm like, I don't see how this could really work. I don't know why I was suspicious of it. I should have done it a hell of a lot sooner, but I finally did acupuncture, and holy crap, you guys, it completely works. So I had 5 sessions of acupuncture. It was once a week for 5 weeks. And I went in and told them, this is what's going on with me. And so the placement of the needles was specific to balancing my feminine energies and my, clearing out the energy in my pelvis area and all of that stuff. And then he gave me these Chinese herbs that is supposed to balance the yin and the yang within your body, as well as just flushing out any toxins and stuff. So I took, I think, 5 servings of this herbal drink. It's basically like an herbal shot. 5 herbal shots of Chinese herbs and 5 acupuncture sessions. And that right there dramatically improved. It took a few months for my periods to kind of like level out and even out, but my periods are pretty much evenly spaced now. My flow has lightened. It's not as clotty and heavy as it used to be. My back pain and stuff is pretty much gone. My ovary pain is pretty much gone. All of this was mostly just from the acupuncture. I do still have a lot of my same symptoms, like the bowel symptoms when I'm on my period. I will still get some back pain. I still have some bad days where I have to lay down with the heating pad. But really, like I said, it's like 95% improved. I also started, foolish me, was not taking a daily vitamin. So I started taking a daily vitamin, which I've noticed also helps. Um, then I started doing yoga, nothing even crazy, nothing like super intense, just pretty much like 5 minutes of yoga a day, just various yoga poses and stuff. And that has really, really helped as well. I make sure to definitely do yoga on days where I'm getting the back pain and some pelvis pain and some ovary pain. I definitely make sure to do the yoga moves at that time as well. Then I also was taking this, which is serapeptase. It is an enzyme. Well, it's not marketed for endometriosis, but basically it's an enzyme that breaks down like scar tissue. So when you have endometriosis, you generally have a lot of scar tissue within your body. And so this stuff, the serapeptase, really helps break down any scar tissue. So when I'm starting to feel like, like the pain and the discomfort flaring up, I'll take this for a few days and the pain is gone. Now, I do not like to take this every day just because I've noticed I take Wellbutrin for my depression. And I feel like when I take this, I don't know if the enzymes messes up the way my body metabolizes my Wellbutrin. Um, but it feels like my Wellbutrin doesn't work quite as well when I'm taking the serapeptase. So you may just want to keep that in mind. And of course, check with your doctor before you take any sort of herbs or enzymes or anything. Please check with your doctor to make sure it won't interfere with any medicine you're taking or anything. But yeah, so this is another option, serapeptase. It's just a natural enzyme. So yeah, acupuncture, Chinese herbs, serapeptase, yoga, and then that's pretty much it. I'll rub like geranium oil on my abdomen because geranium oil is good for the pelvis and the woman's reproductive system. I've made sure to increase my water intake as well. And I know diet is a huge factor. Diet is huge, and it is something that I am working on daily. But diet is also something that you can do to help your endometriosis symptoms. Avoiding the inflammatory things like sugar and carbs and starches and all of that, avoiding those. Because I have noticed when I do have a lot of like the fried foods or a lot of sugary foods and stuff, my pain will flare up. So increasing your vegetables and your fiber and everything is a good option too. I hope I'm not missing anything, and I hope I didn't rattle on for too terribly long. Hey, 13 minutes. That's not that bad. So yeah, so I hope that helps. I hope it helps because it helped me. Acupuncture, that really is like the number one thing. Like if you have not tried acupuncture yet, please, 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 I just spit. Please, please, please give it a try because it was a life changer for me. I am going to go back. It was February when I had my acupuncture, February into March, and it's now the end of September. So I would like to go back again here in the next like month or two and get another like couple of maintenance sessions or something to just kind of stay on top of it. But yeah, so there's definitely natural options. You don't have to go the birth control route. You don't have to go the surgery route. Please try acupuncture. Well, please try acupuncture, but please try alternative methods and holistic methods. And really do your research because there's tons of different options for holistic and natural ways to deal with endometriosis. You don't have to just go the Western medicine route of putting a Band-Aid over it or just, extreme methods. So give it a try, and I hope that helps. If you have any questions or anything, please leave comments below, and I would love to hear your thoughts or answer your questions. And yeah, there is hope. There is hope for us endometriosis sufferers. And I'm sure all the things too that I mentioned would help for other things as well. If you have, any other sort of pelvic or feminine health issues, I'm sure a lot of these things could help also. So I will talk to all of you wonderful people later. Peace and love, everybody. Bye.